Hi, today we are going to learn PowerShell on Windows 10. It's almost the same way if you're using it on Windows 11 or Windows Server operating systems. Now we'll be using our unprivileged user account, Alice account, which is joined to the domain. And we'll have to start the PowerShell by clicking Start and typing in PowerShell. And you'll start it just like a normal user, since it's not a administrator account, so you will not be able to run it as an administrator. Now we'll be going through the series of commands that we can do in order to perform certain operations. We can even try certain commands on our Active Directory, and we'll learn how can we create accounts on our Active Directory using PowerShell commands. So we'll start with paths and shortcuts, but just a reminder that I have noticed that 96% of my viewers are not subscribed. So if you're liking the videos, kindly consider subscribing to the channel. Now we'll start with a small thing over here where I'll type in a small command over here called write host, and then after that I'll type in the environment variables for that. So I'll ask for environment, and then I'll write the path of it and press enter. So it would show us the complete path of this user's environment conditions. Now after that, if for example I would like to go to a directory, I'll type in cd, and then I'll type in c, and then users, and then I want to go in its working directory as well. So it would show me the path of C users where this account exists on the computer itself. After that, I would try to run another command, which is cd, and then I'll type in the symbol and then press the semicolon, and after that pwd. So it would show me the path of Alice account on this computer. Now just like how we learned it on bash scripting, if we'll type history over here, it would show us all the commands that we have passed on our computer so far. Now we'll try to understand looping. The following code sequence will show the environment path string to the my path variable, followed by the conversion of that path to an array, which is a split operator. Once we have the array, we'll loop through each of the for each method. So in order to try that, I'm going to type in my path and then press enter. And after that, if I would type in another command over here, it would show a complete path of Alice account which is used. As you can see, it's C system32 and all the other accounts which or the paths which are associated to Alice account. After that, I'll try to pass in another command where I would try to split it using a semicolon in between. So as you noticed previously, when we passed in the command, it showed all of them in a straight row with a semicolon in between, but this time I want to print it on a separate line. So for that, I'm writing a code for each item, my path, then split it with that, and then write host item in new line. So now you can see that it has displayed all of those items in a separate line over here. Now we'll try to understand the utilization of aliases in PowerShell. Now for example, if I have created an alias which is dir, and if I'll press enter, you can see that the alias that I created is for the get child item. It means that instead of writing get child item, if I'm going to type in dir, it is going to show me the same command over here. So for example, we would like to find all aliases which are used for get child item. We'll type in find string and press enter. So it would tell us that if I'm going to type dir, gci or ls, it means the same, that it would list all the items in this one. So let's try one of them, and I'll type in lsenv, and it would show me all of them. It means that it has recognized that this is used as an alias for something else. Now let's try to see a thing. For example, if we are trying to pass in a command just like on Linux called if config, our Windows will not recognize it because for Windows it is ipconfig. Now we can create an alias over here. So in order to create an alias for that, we'll say set alias and then minus name if config value. So if we'll type in if config, it would return the results of ipconfig, and we'll press enter. So now it has recognized that if config is actually ipconfig. So if I'm going to try if config now, it would show me the details which we would get for ipconfig as well. Now in case if you have created an alias and if you want to delete it from here, we will type remove item alias if config and I'll press enter. So now that alias would be removed. So if I'll try if config now, it should return me an error that it does not recognize this alias. So now just for the sake of understanding, we are going to create another alias for list. Instead of typing in get child list, I'm using the name as list. It would create it, and if I'll type in list, it would show me the list of items which are mentioned or which are there in C users LEs. Now let's work on creating directories using PowerShell. So in order to create a directory on PowerShell, I'm typing in a command called mkdir. It would create a directory called scripting, and then it would say cd scripting. There would be a folder scripting, and it would open a notepad file with server.txt. It means that a notepad file would open, and in that we'll be able to enter certain details of it, but the name of the text file would be servers.txt. So once we'll press enter, it would create a directory. As you can see that in the background, it's showing that it has created a directory over there, and then it has opened a notepad file called servers.txt. In that one, I'll enter the details as champlain.edu, vermont.gov, and then I can type in msn.com. So once that's done, I can save it and I can close it, and if I'll go to the directory, I will be able to see in scripting there is a text file created which is servers.txt. Now let's try to pass some information in that folder. So in order to do that, I'm asking it to go to servers and get the content called servers.txt, and I'll press enter after that so that it would go to the same directory. Then I would write for each server in servers, write the server host as server and press enter. So as you can see, it has listed the items which were listed in our servers.txt file. Now I want to create a PowerShell file called servers.ps1, and I'm giving the path of it, and in that I want to write these website addresses, which is champlain.edu, vermont.gov, msn.com, and the output file name should be servers1.ps1, and press enter. So we can see that a file has been created over here, and if we would like to open it in a notepad file and see it, we can see the contents of it as written exactly on the screen up here. So if I would like to open the file, I'll type in // and then servers.ps1, and we can see the same content that we entered in the text file. Now you might receive an error over here since it is allowing the script to be executed remotely. So in order to enable it, you can type in a command called set execution policy scope current user remote sign and then press enter. It would ask you that would you like to enable it. Press A so that you're allowing it for all, and you'll be able to run the same script. Now let's try to create another script in this one so that it would ping all of these servers which are listed in this one. So in order to do that, I'm going to do it in a manual way. Like I'm going to create a text file over here, and I'll call it servers 2.ps1, and you can delete the extension of txt and press enter. Now once that's done, we'll have to edit this file in order to add some information in this one, and in order to do that, I'm going to click on open with, and then I'm going to select notepad, and in that one I'm going to write that get content from servers.txt. txt file is the one which is over here. This is the txt file, And then for each server, write the hostname pinging server and then ping it -n1, and then I'll try to test it in my PowerShell. So I'm going to type in dot backslash and then servers do .ps1 and press enter. As you can see, it is pinging all the URLs which we mentioned in the text document. So now we'll try to create another notepad file, but this time we are typing in a parameter called notepad and we are doing it // parameters and then ps1. So it's going to open a file and we'll have to write something in it, but before that you can see that it has created a file over here. So I'm going to type in the parameter string list of things for each thing in get content list of things and get the host, and then we'll save it and close it, and then I'll try to run the command over here and I'm typing it params list of things and then servers.txt and press enter. So it would show you the content of the same text file. So now we'll see that we can even resolve the DNS names etc. using PowerShell. I'm going to type in resolve DNS name for google.com, so it showed me an output for that. And if I would like to resolve the DNS name with google.com and then select the object as name and IP address, so we can see it in a properly formatted way as name and IP address listed over here. Now likewise we did earlier, this time let's try to resolve the DNS for all the items which are listed on our servers.txt file. So what I'm doing is that I have created another PowerShell script over here. I'm writing it resolve DNS and then I'm trying to find the file path of it and get the file path, name of the servers, and then I want to display the information as object name, IP address and rest of the things. So in order to execute that, I'm going to call my file which is resolve.dns, type a file path, and then I'm giving the path of the file, so it would read all the items which are there in server.txt and it would give me the output for that. So now we are logged into our domain controller, and we know that the Windows does not natively support SSH for remote access etc. So PowerShell can be invoked remotely using PSS session, and we'll see it shortly. First, let's try to see the details on our PowerShell on our Active Directory. So just to confirm, I'll pass in a command called get AD computer details, and it would tell me that AD computer filter and subject object names which are there nearby my domain are AD1, Workstation, file server and web server. So now if I would like to enter my file server from my domain controller and we want to start a PSS session, I'll type in a command and then I'll press enter. So it would show me the details that I am currently connected on my file server. Now if I would like to get the details of my file server's IP addresses, I type in ipconfig over here and it would show me the IP details of my file server. Now I'll exit from here and I'll show you that if we'll pass in this command, it can launch a command remotely without having an interactive session. So we'll invoke the command on our file server by using a script log of ipconfig, and we'll be able to get the IP details of our file server just by using the invoke command. Now we'll learn how can we create user accounts using the PowerShell on our Active Directory. So the one way is that we can go to Active Directory users and computers. So you can open your dashboard on your server, click on Active Directory users and computers. And as you remember, when we were working on Active Directory and we showed you how can we set it up, we told you that if you want to create a new user account, we'll right click on this one, go to new user, and we'll create an account. But sometimes it happens that either you need to generate the accounts in bulk or you want to create an account using a PowerShell. So we can use it by just typing in a command called new user, and then we'll name the user, given name, the name that would be there, the surname of the user, and the user SAM account name would be Tom, and then the user principal name would be Tom and name of my domain. Then the path that I want to give it to, that I want to create it in C users directly in our domain. And the account password should be, I have typed in the password of the account as well as plain text, and it should create an account. So if I'll go to my Active Directory on users, and now we cannot see a account called Tom over here, but if I'll click on this one and refresh it, you can see that an account has been created over here with the name as Tom. Now the second thing we'll do is that we'll have to create a group. For that we want to add Tom to that group. First of all, we'll have to create a group over here. So just like we created the account using the PowerShell, I'm going to create a group over here, and then we will add Tom account to that user group. So I'm going to type in the new user group where I am calling it PowerShell users, and then group category could be security group, and then we are using it as a global group. I'm giving the path of it just like in users, and then on my domain and the description should be PowerShell users, and press enter. Now if I'll go to my Active Directory users and computers, and again if I'm going to refresh this one, I'm going to see a new group over here which is called PowerShell users. It's exactly like how we created it over here, called PowerShell users. Now the next step is that we want to add Tom to this group. So in order to do that, I'll type in a command called add group member. So we are adding Tom as a group member to the group which is PowerShell users, and then we'll press enter. So now Tom is added to the group. Now in order to check that, we'll open that, and just in case we'll refresh it first, and then we'll open Tom, and then we'll go to member of, and we can see that he's a member of PowerShell users. On the other side, if we are going to the PowerShell users, we'll open it and we'll click on members, so we can see Tom listed here as well. So that was a short tutorial on how can we learn PowerShell, and we can unleash the actual power of PowerShell with the help of which we can perform lots of operations. That's it for today. Thank you very much.